In the farthest reaches of our planet lies a world few will ever touch. A frozen kingdom where temperatures plunge to -80 degrees Celsius, or about -112 degrees Fahrenheit, and the wind howls with the force of a hurricane. This is Antarctica, the coldest, driest, and most mysterious place on Earth. It is a continent of silence and light, where the sun never sets for months and then vanishes into endless night. Despite its brutal conditions, Antarctica has quietly built its own hidden traditions shaped by those who dared to live here. What if I told you that even in a land where nothing grows, humans and nature have created rituals, unspoken rules, and sacred customs known only to those who have endured its icy isolation? Today, you will uncover the secret traditions of Antarctica you never knew. The first unspoken rule among those who inhabit this frozen desert is simple: survival depends on community. Life here isn't measured by hours or miles, but by trust. In the scattered research stations across the ice, scientists from every corner of the globe unite. Not as citizens of different nations, but as one fragile species facing the same merciless cold. There are no wars here, no borders, no politics, only the eternal white. Each base has developed its own identity and culture, a reflection of its people and their shared struggle. At McMurdo Station, the largest American base, newcomers are welcomed with a pollywog ceremony, a playful ritual marking their crossing of the Antarctic Circle. It's a day of laughter, costumes, and icy dares that remind everyone of the warmth that only human connection can bring in a land of endless frost. Across the icy expanse at the Ukrainian base, Vernadsky, another enduring tradition lives on. Each time a new team of researchers arrives, they distill their own batch of homemade vodka and gather in a tiny wooden bar carved from ice. It isn't about the alcohol, it's about belonging. In a place where the sun may not rise for weeks, warmth becomes sacred. They say that one shot of this Antarctic spirit melts away loneliness for a night and reminds them that they are not alone in the dark. Even nature itself seems to follow its own rituals. The sea ice moans and groans as it expands and contracts like a living creature breathing beneath the stars. The wind sculpts the snow into elegant ridges called sastrugi, delicate patterns etched by invisible hands. For those who live here long enough, the ice begins to speak in a language of its own, a symphony of creaks, booms, and whispers that tell the story of a continent alive beneath its frozen surface. Yet, perhaps the most profound tradition belongs to the select few who stay through the winterovers, when the last plane departs and darkness falls for 9 long months. They remain behind, completely cut off from the world. Over time, their small community forms an unbreakable bond. Every June 21st, they celebrate Midwinter's Day, a century-old tradition born from the earliest explorers. Gifts are exchanged, messages from world leaders are read aloud, and the crew shares a feast fit for kings, surrounded by nothing but ice and darkness. For one night, laughter and music fill the frozen halls, proof that even in endless night, the human spirit finds light. Would you have the courage to live where the air itself could freeze your breath? Could you find beauty in the silence of an eternal winter? If you love discovering hidden cultures like this, make sure to subscribe for more stories like this one. While most imagine Antarctica as an empty wasteland, those who live here know it hides a living culture shaped by resilience, creativity, and a deep sense of humor. In a place where the sun disappears for months, laughter becomes a form of survival. One of the strangest and most beloved customs among Antarctic residents is the 300 Club. It's a challenge that only the bravest attempt, and it begins when the temperature outside drops to at least -100 degrees Fahrenheit, or about -73 Celsius. Inside the station's sauna, participants heat themselves until their body temperature soars near 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Then, wearing nothing but boots, they rush outside into the freezing darkness. Run a quick lap around the South Pole marker and return to the warmth before frostbite can claim their skin. Those who complete it earn no trophy, just bragging rights and a lifelong story of madness and courage that only Antarctica can inspire. At the South Pole Station, another curious ritual takes place each New Year's Day. Researchers and staff gather for the ceremonial race around the world, a light run that loops around the geographic South Pole because of the way the Earth's lines of longitude converge there. Runners technically pass through every time zone on the planet in just a few minutes. Costumes, laughter, and friendly competition fill the frozen air, reminding everyone that joy can exist even where life should not. This race isn't about win, it's a celebration of humanity's endurance, a small rebellion against the monotony of ice and silence. Life on the continent also carries quieter traditions, moments of reflection born from the isolation. Every evening, as the sun dips low during the short summer, scientists step outside their research stations to witness the strange twilight that never truly becomes night. They call it the blue hour, a time when the snow glows like liquid sapphire and shadows stretch endlessly across the horizon. Some whisper that it's in these moments they feel the true soul of Antarctica, vast, ancient, and untouched. The silence is so complete that even a heartbeat feels loud. For many, Antarctica becomes more than a workplace, becomes a teacher. The continent forces humility, discipline, and connection. Meals are eaten together, repairs are made together, and every task is shared. When someone falls ill, everyone helps. When a storm rages for days, they read aloud, sing, and tell stories to keep their minds anchored to something human. There's an old saying among winter rovers: "You don't survive Antarctica, you make peace with it." This philosophy guides every tradition, spoken or unspoken, that has emerged here. One of the oldest rituals comes not from the scientists, but from the explorers of the past. Early expeditions, like those of Ernest Shackleton and Robert Falcon Scott, left behind wooden huts that still stand today, preserved in ice like time capsules. Modern researchers often visit these sites to leave behind tokens, letters, photos, or small charms as a silent salute to those who came before. It's not required, yet almost everyone who visits feels compelled to do it. The act connects generations separated by a century, but united by the same awe and respect for this place. Antarctica may seem lifeless, but beneath the surface, communities of microscopic organisms thrive in frozen lakes sealed under ice for millions of years. In a way, they too follow their own ancient rituals of survival, adapting quietly in darkness. Scientists often say that studying these hidden worlds feels like exploring another planet, one where life whispers instead of roars. If you could step into this frozen silence, what would you leave behind to mark your presence here? A letter, a photograph, a simple footprint in the snow. If you love discovering hidden traditions from around the world, don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this one. Antarctica hides its most human traditions in the smallest routines that decide whether a season feels possible. On mornings when the wind chill cuts to -60°C, about -76 Fahrenheit, people still gather at the notice board to read hand-drawn comics and jokes, proof that humor can keep the cold away. Coffee becomes ceremony. The first person awake brews a pot for everyone and leaves a note saying, "Saved you a mug." Someone tunes a radio to music, and the room fills with warmth that no heater could make. Tiny rituals like these are the thread that holds the long months together. When the sun returns after endless night, stations step outside to watch it rise. They face the horizon in silence, parkas pulled tight, waiting for the first pale light to climb above the ice. Some cheer softly, others just stand still with tears they didn't expect. Pancakes and cinnamon rolls follow, and a new photo is pinned to the wall labeled First Sunrise, proof that hope has come back at the South Pole. A small team gathers each New Year's Day to move the official marker. Because the ice shifts a few meters every year, they raise flags, take photos, and stand for a speech before the world's cleanest sky. It's a simple act, but it carries the weight of an agreement between humans and the land that they will honor accuracy even in silence. Maybe that is the true ritual of Antarctica. To come here is to become part of its memory. You arrive as a visitor, you leave as a keeper of silence. If you could invent your own tradition at the end of the world, what would it be? If journeys like this inspire you, subscribe and join us again as we uncover hidden cultures and untold traditions across the planet.